Hello and welcome. You have tuned into Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. I'm Shrishti Sharma and with me as always is Cheryl D'Souza. And viewers, this is the show where you get answers for all your stock related queries. In a short while from now, we'll connect with our experts. But before that, let's have a look at what the markets are up to. So Cheryl, what an outperformance by Bank Nifty, up 200 points right now.
Absolutely. Shrishti, a very good morning to you. And Nifty Bank is definitely leading the way when it comes to the markets today. Nifty Bank is trading higher by about 0.5% as we speak, near the day's highest point, but it is the benchmark indices that are subdued in today's trading session. If you look at the advanced decline ratio, pretty much neck to neck coming in, and the benchmark indices right now nudging towards that day's lowest point. That's Nifty for you. Sub that 19,600 mark. You also have Sensex that is trading lower by about actually trading flat with a negative bias as we speak. Talking about some of the list of gainers in trade today on the Nifty front, it's Hero Motocorp, top gainer in trade, 4% uptick coming in for Nifty Bank. We'll tell you very shortly why this sort of an up move is being witnessed in Hero Motocorp today. Cipla, Tech Mahindra, Axis Bank, Dr. Reddy's are other set of gainers in trade. Talking about the set of losers then is Power Grid, Adani Ports, Mahindra, Sun Pharma as well as Coal India that are declining in trade. Some of the newsmakers today, definitely Gland Pharma is a top newsmaker in trade. It's reported a good set of numbers. You have brokerages that have gone ahead and upgraded the stock. So you can see Gland Pharma that's trading higher by about 20%, locked in the upper circuit of 20% as we speak. Another stock that you need to watch out for is definitely Adani Green. It's an ET Now news break confirmed. Remember yesterday we broke the story that QIA, that is a Qatar Investment Authority, was said to have picked up that stake in Adani Green, and that particular news flow has been confirmed. As you can see on your screen, you have Adani Green that's trading higher by about 4%. It started the day with an uptick of about 2.5%. Now building onto that gains on the ET Now Newsbreak confirmed that indeed it was QIA's unit that ARM which purchased that stake in Adani Green. So Adani Green on your screen, 4% uptick coming in for that particular counter. Talking about some of the sectoral indices and what they are doing in trade today, if you look at the power index, that is under pressure. You have metals that's under pressure, as well as FMCG is the other sector that's under pressure in trade today. But PSU Bank Index, that's trading pretty healthy, 1.6% uptick coming in for PSU Bank Index. Like I said, Nifty Bank also is trading higher by about 0.5%. You also have a Pharma Index that's seeing good strength for 0.4% uptick coming in for Pharma Index. And the broader markets are also in the positive territory. But all eyes definitely has to be on Hero Motocorp, Shrishti, and that one is leading the gains on the Nifty today.
Well, yes, absolutely. That Hero Motocorp riding up and high in today's trading session, and that's after the company came out with its booking numbers till date for the latest launch, that is Hero Harley X440, and what a response that it has got, where the company says that over 25,000 booking is what they have received till now, and after seeing such a great response, they actually have to stop taking any further bookings. They will come up with a new announcement onto the when they are going to restarting the bookings for the latest launch, but that will happen at a higher price, because with this they have revised the prices as well, and that's definitely positive for the company, because for every model that is being offered they have revised the prices by 10,000 rupees, because do remember, even after having a premium versus what we are seeing from Eicher Motors offering currently, then Hero Motocorp getting such a good response is definitely positive, where the company also says that going ahead they will look out for more such offerings in the premium segment. For now, they do say that the commencement of the consumer deliveries will begin in October, because before that, September onwards, they will start the production. So all this is in line. But other than that, if we compare it with the peers, then Bajaj Auto in the recent con call shared that the Triumph launch that happened around Hero Motocorp's offering as well, that has received a booking close to 17,000 units. So 17,000 and 25,000 overbookings is definitely a good premium or a good difference to begin with. And Eicher Motors is definitely a stock which has been hammered for quite some while now. And Hero Motocorp receiving such a great response in almost a month's time now is definitely good, where analysts are expecting that going ahead that the production could be around 5,000 units per month going ahead. What kind of a ramp up Hero Motocorp does will be the key to watch out for. But for FY24, they are not factoring much with respect to the sales data, but FY24 onwards, they are expecting that this could be a good play for Hero Motocorp. But for today, definitely up higher by 4%.
All right, that's Hero Motocorp. That's trading high by about 4%. You are seeing collateral damage on Eicher Motors as well. That is actually was trading a bit subdued in trade today. There you go. It's tried to actually recover in trade. But let's put the question to our experts as to what should you do with Hero Motocorp? Is this trigger enough for you to actually bet big on Hero Motocorp? What are the charts telling us? What are the fundamentals telling us? Let's bring on board our experts today. We have Kunal Bothra as well as Shahina Mukaddam joining us on the show. A very good morning to you, Shahina, as well as Kunal. Thank you so much for joining us on Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. And Shahina, let me come first to you. Do you think this one is a trigger enough for one to actually take a relook at Hero Motocorp? Do you think that this will be the winner in the auto pack for the year 2023 like M&M was in the year 2022?
Well, this is exciting news, and I mean long-awaited motorbike. At the same time, the contribution for the current year FY24 is going to be limited. And if you saw the monthly numbers in July, Hero actually was the worst performer with a 12% Y-on-Y decline, in numbers, volumes for two-wheelers. Compared to its peers, also it's underperformed. So in a sense, this was a very much needed launch. At the same time, I think, this has been one stock that has really not given investors a decent return over the, it's consolidated. 5-year period, you've really not made too much money. You may not have lost also. So I think this trend will continue the next couple of quarters. So it's not my favorite. It's not my top pick in the sector as of now.
Okay, not the top pick in the sector, but this trend may continue going ahead. But Kunal, this particular counter has been very volatile. Definitely on the back of the news flow, we have seen negative news flow flowing in for Hero Motocorp in terms of the rates. But other than that, if we talk about the latest news, the stock is up anywhere between 4%. So going ahead, do you believe that this could be the winner in the two-wheeler segment?
Good morning, Srishti, as well as Cheryl and to Shaina. My belief is that Hero Motocorp has been a stock which has been due for a breakout. Now, apparently the stock, of course, has been in the thick of a lot of news flow. 2 weeks back, the stock made a correction of from 3,200 to 50 levels to, I think, a point where the stock was back at 2950 mark. It's trying to recuperate most of the losses. But then I think the breakout for Hero Motocorp would happen above the 3,200 to 50 mark. So as of now, it looks like that the trend is set on the upside. There was a knee-jerk reaction for the stock price 2 weeks back, and I think that seems to have been digested by the stock price quite well. But in terms of a classical breakout, we ideally wait out for that breakout confirmation, which is another 100 points on the upside max for Hero Motocorp. So I think it's always better to try and wait for that confirmation of a breakout for the stock price if you're looking at a buy more from a positional play. So 3200, 3250 is the breakout point for Hero Motocorp, would suggest a buy only above those levels.
All right, so that's the view coming in on Hero Motocorp. Very tempted to ask you actually, Kunal, what has been your favorite pick? You have now actually a lot of premium luxury bikes to pick up. You have Harley Davidson, you have Triumph also with Bajaj Auto, or you want to stick to the good old Eicher Motors?
I think Harley, of course, would probably win out, hands down. I think associating yourself with a brand of Harley at such a nominal kind of a cost relatively, I think is always better.
All right, so which means that out of the 25,000, you're also one of them?
Probably in the next lot.
Oh, probably the next lot. You will have to track Srishti then to know when is the next launch, as in the booking dates. Yeah, booking date. But on that note, actually, I think we should slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. When we come back, we'll start taking your queries. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now, a show where we get you answers for all your stock-related queries. And viewers, you can connect with us live on a WhatsApp number that will be flashing on the top of your screen, or you can also write to us on our Facebook as well as Twitter pages, and we will try to take as many queries as possible. And to answer you better on your queries, we have Kunal Bothra as well as Shahina Mukaddam onto the show. Once again, welcome onto the show, and taking the first query then, and Kunal, this one is on Dixon Technologies. This query is from Deepak. He's from Mumbai and he's having 135 shares of Dixon from a price of 5,025 rupees. He wants to know the target price for the next 3 to 6 months.
Hold is what I would recommend. If the potential of the breakout is strong for Dixon Technology, which the stock has shown in the last 2-3 days, then I would believe that potentially the stock should climb up at least another 700 to 800 points in the next 2 to 3 months, which means a potential upside till 5,700-ish for Dixon Tech in that kind of a time frame for the next 3 odd months. But then my belief is that the stock has given a medium term or a positional breakout, which means the longer term trend or the longer term targets could be much higher than a potential target of 5,700 for Dixon Tech. So it all depends on how much you can hold. For the next 3 months, I would probably keep 5,700 as a target. But then if your time frame is 12 months or plus, 12 months or more, then I think the target potentials could be significantly higher than these levels.
All right, the next query is coming from Matthew. He's writing to us from Muscat. This one is for you, Shahina. He wants to know whether it's a good time to enter SBI cards at current levels. He's a long-term investor is what he's saying.
Well, I think instead of entering into SBI cards, it would be preferable if either, SBI is corrected. He should actually get into either SBI or some other private sector bank. That is what I would prefer. Maybe an ICICI bank or HDFC bank.
Okay, Shahina, what's your take on Petronet? Padmaseva Rao from Bangalore has been holding the shares from a price of 240 rupees. He has 25 shares and wants to know any target that you can suggest him with for the next 1 year.
I think Petronet has actually just consolidated over a long period of time. So in my view, it is better that he exits the stock and looks at some other stock or sector.
Right, the next one is coming in from Harsh, is writing to us from Vijayawada. Kunal, is my trip 1,000 shares at an average price of 44 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he should continue to hold on to the stock or should he look to go ahead and exit this one. There's been corporate action as well in Easy Trip, but the stock is just around his buy price.
Yeah, I would wait for the stock to come back towards 44, 45 levels, which should be closer to your cost price. I think it's just gone through that first day of bounce today. Hopefully, if this bounce extends to another couple of trading sessions or at least another week, the stock should come back towards 44 plus mark. That could be a better level where you may look to exit.
Okay, Kunal, Anjali is looking out for your take on Chennai Petro. She's holding 100 shares from a price of 400 rupees. What to do in this particular name, and can she add more at current market price? And she also wants a take on Escorts. Is this a good time to enter in this particular counter?
Well, for Escorts, I would suggest that you wait out for maybe another 100 to 150 point dip over the short term because the indicators are seemingly extremely overbought. So I think it's better to buy on dips. For Chennai Petro, I would not suggest an add because in the last, I think, 1 month from mid of July, the stock has shown 2 gap down openings and both those gaps have remained unfilled for Chennai Petro. In fact, the first gap which was from 440 levels to 410 and the second gap which was very recent, I think last week from 410 towards 390, 395 for Chennai Petro. So both those gaps have been unfilled and that could probably create some more selling pressure on the stock price. So I would suggest not to average at current levels.
All right, this next query that I have is actually coming in from... this one is coming in from Ramu Murthy from Bahrain. Before I take Ramu Murthy's query, just take a look at what the markets are doing at this point in time because we've actually taken a sharp knock from the day's highest point. If you look at the markets, very much in the negative territory coming in for the benchmark indices as well as the broader markets are also in the negative territory. There you go on your screen. Even the broader markets are actually at the day's lowest point and Nifty Bank has given up those elevated levels. Right now, it is actually trading with gains about 0.2%. Let me take this query now from Ramamurthy. He wants to know about, whether he should book partial profits in Federal Bank and Bank of Maharashtra. And this one is for you, Kunal. Also, he wants to know, should he look to invest in Vesuvius India? I'm not sure if you try Vesuvius India, but Bank of Maharashtra and Federal Bank, he's saying that he's made profits. So do you think the charts indicate that he should book some partial profits now?
If you're a long-term investor, then I would suggest not to do that because I think these stocks have just shown classical signs of a multi-month breakout for themselves, both for Bank of Maharashtra as well as for Federal Bank. So I would actually suggest a hold if your time frame is long-term. By that I mean at least 1 year, if not more, for both of these stocks. For Vesuvius, I don't track the stock, but I was just looking at the preliminary charts. It's a less liquid name. Recently, I think the stock has shown some kind of a gap movement. The volumes have shot up higher, but then the average volumes for the stock is pretty low. I think 10-12,000 on an average on an odd day for the stock price. So I would frankly avoid looking out or investing into these kind of stocks.
Okay, Shaina, do you track Lloyd's Steels? Shankar has been writing for quite some days now, and he has purchased 300 shares of Lloyd's Steel, and the share price has gone up too. So, should he add at this point in time, or maybe book his profits right now? Do you have any take on this one? Shahina, this question is for you.
No, I do track.
Okay, I was assuming this, but moving on to the next one then. And Kunal, Reena Thomas from Kerala has written to us on that she's holding 600 shares of NLC India from a price of 100 rupees. Can she hold this counter for the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, I think the stock is heavily lignite. It's shown signs of a breakout on the short-term charts. In fact, the level of 115, 110 was a huge resistance for the stock over the medium term. I think the 2017 or 18 high for the stock or a cluster of monthly support was closer to this 110 odd mark. The stock seems to have broken out finally. It's not yet given a confirmation in terms of a monthly or a quarterly breakout, but assumingly if this breakout sustains for the stock price, then I believe that the next targets for the stock would be almost at 160 to 170. So with that anticipation, you can probably keep a trailing stop loss of 110 on say monthly closing basis, and on the upside can look out for 160 plus as a target.
Okay, this next one is for you, Kunal. This one is coming from Mudit Goyal. He's writing to us from Uttar Pradesh. 100 shares of Fortis Health at the price of 309 rupees per share. He wants to know what's the 3-month target for this counter.
I think 350, which was a recent high for the stock, is a decent enough upside target for Fortis Healthcare. Now, since the stock has already touched those levels, I'm not sure whether the stock would probably go into a retest of the previous highs, because all of a sudden the last 1 week there is some weakness, some selling on the back of higher volumes which have originated for Fortis Healthcare. So if the stock comes back to say 335, 340 odd mark, which could be a midpoint from current levels to the expected target, I think that's a good zone where you may look to book out profits.
Okay, Kunal, the next query is for you. Divya is relatively new to the markets and she's looking to invest 3 lakh rupees into some of the stocks. So she's looking out for your advice and the right time where she can enter in any of the names that you could suggest. And she also wants your take on Zomato, Newgen Software and Keynes Technology. Any of these stocks that you like at this point?
So I'll take the second part first. Out of the 3 names which you mentioned, I think Keynes and Zomato, I think these 2 stocks look attractive, but you always have to remember that when you're buying the stock, always look to buy these stocks post that event and the news flow is out, and once the stock starts to get into a correction, like for example Zomato had a fantastic uptrend, the stock delivered results, the stock reacted post results, went up to 100 levels, so it's best to buy the stock on a correction. 84, 85 could be a good starting point where you may look to buy Zomato, because that could give you a good buffer as well as a cushion in terms of the risk reward. So would be the case with Keynes Technology. The stock has run up exceedingly high in the last 3-4 months. So I think if it comes back to say 1650 mark, that could be a good starting point for you to start investing into these stocks from long-term play. Compared to your first part of the question where you're looking to invest, I think it's best if you start investing in few large cap stocks initially. So maybe 50% of your expected capital which you're looking to allocate should be delivered on the large cap names. I think something like L&T looks attractive from a long-term play. You can look out for auto stocks like Tata Motors, M&M as better alternative even from current levels. From the banking names, I would believe SBI in the stock, since it's corrected more than 10%. I think that's also become an attractive bet from a long-term play. So many opportunities from the large cap stocks which you can start off with.
All right, this one is for you, Shahina. This one is coming from Perumal. He's writing to us from Chennai. He has Kpit Tech, 550 shares at a price of 350 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he should continue to hold on to this or look to exit. What's your take on Kpit Tech? Do you think that it makes sense to stay put with this one, given the fact that his buy price is pretty at an attractive price? 350 was his buy price.
I think he should continue to hold on, though the stock has given very good performance. He should hold on. It's one of the better mid-cap stocks.
Okay, Kunal, the next question is from Shripati from Hyderabad, and he has purchased 40 shares of Axis Bank from a price of 871 rupees. He's a long-term investor and wants to know, should he stay invested in this one or move out?
Well, you can stay invested, but the question is whether Axis Bank is one of the best private sector banks or whether there are other opportunities which are available. I would believe that Axis Bank or there are better opportunities other than Axis Bank. Now, it also depends on your your taste of going into high beta stocks or slight high beta stocks from the private sector banking name. If you are okay with adding on to or tilting towards the high beta space where there could be a lot of volatility but the upside potential could also be significantly high, then I would suggest buying maybe IDFC First Bank on corrections could be a better strategy. You can look to also consider IndusInd Bank as a better alternative. RBL Bank, in case if the stock dips back towards that 200 mark, should also be amongst the top list for your private sector banking stocks.
Okay, this one is coming from Venkat. He's writing to us from Dubai, and this one is on Reliance Industries. 140 shares at a average price of 2,380 rupees per share. Shahina, he's saying that it's just 5% profit that he's made. As many changes are happening in Reliance, is it better to reduce the shares at least 8% of the office, which actually consists 8% of his portfolio, and invest rather in mid-cap IT stocks of pharma space? He's a long-term investor. Do you think this strategy makes sense, Shahina, to take some money off a Reliance and instead put it in a mid-cap IT or a pharma space where maybe he will be able to make some more returns?
Well, there is a lot of demerger and giving back to shareholders happening in Reliance with Reliance Financial proposed listing, etc. At the same time, since he's got 8% of his portfolio in one stock, yes, he can take off about 3 to 4% and invest in some of a pharma stock, actually, which is the happening sector as of now, and which is likely to do better over the next 1 year. And also, I would say private sector banks, he can look. Mid-cap IT he can look at. I think all these sectors have not performed that well in the last couple of months and likely to outperform over the next 1 year. So yes, partially he can switch, but Reliance definitely by itself is a decent hold.
Okay, so that's the take coming in on Reliance. But for this, viewers, it's time to slip into a short break. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back to take more of your stock-related queries. So stay tuned.
Back, you're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. Let me continue taking all of your stock-related queries. And this one is coming from Vivek. Kunal, this one is for you. Max Healthcare, should he add or look to sell? He already has this counter at a price of 410 rupees per share.
I think you should look to exit or book profits on the stock price. Now, the technical rationale is very interesting because the stock in the last 1-2 weeks has corrected from 620 to 527, which was the low for Max Healthcare, if I'm not wrong, 2 or 3 days back. The stock yesterday saw a bounce towards 580, and in that sell-off which had happened for Max Healthcare, almost 100-point sell-off, the indicators had become extremely oversold. So yesterday's rally was more of a relief rally, and the stock eventually, after such kind of sharp oversold, we've seen historically that the stock gets into a 100-point further sell-off over a span of maybe 3 to 4 weeks or slightly more than that. So I think I would probably expect the stock to correct and come back towards 425, 430 mark at least. So it's a good time where you can look to book out profits. In case if you're looking to buy back again, wait for that correction towards 430 mark. That could be a zone where you may look to buy back again.
Okay, moving on to the next query then, and Shahina, this query is on Bharat Dynamics. Jai Krishnan from Kerala has bought the shares from a price of 1,219 rupees. He wants a medium-term outlook on this one. At this point in time, can he add more to average out, or maybe sell this counter and move out?
Well, I think he should hold on at current levels, but since the rally has been quite sharp over the last couple of months, I think he can wait for a dip to buy. But for the medium term, it looks like a good hold. If he buys, it will be better if he buys it close to about $1,000, so he will get a decent return from there.
This one is coming in from Arvind. He's writing to us from Chennai, and he's asking Kunal, is 20 stocks of Eicher Motors at a price of 3,326 worth holding on to, or should he look to exit? Also, he wants to know how sustainable is the up move in Zomato looking right now for him to look to enter into the counter.
So on Eicher Motors, I would suggest that you should look to hold on to the stock. Now, the only change which has happened for the stock price of Eicher Motors on the indicators is one of the indicators which has come back to the positive territory from being into a negative territory since the last 1 month or so. So that could probably be the first indication of a possible change of trend for the stock price over the near term. I would suggest a hold on Eicher Motors since your cost price is very, very close by. I would expect that if this indicator positive or the positive trend of the indicator sustains, you might see the stock coming back towards at least 3,500, if not more, over the near term. For Zomato, as I said earlier, that it's better to buy the stock when it gets into a correction, because we've seen historically that after such kind of a news flow events, the stock price gets into an odd 10% kind of a correction. So 94 is where the news flow came out for Zomato. I would suggest maybe 85, 86 could be a good starting point if you're looking to buy on dips for Zomato.
Okay, Shahina, the next query is from Bhagwan from Mumbai, and he's holding two shares. Firstly is Jupiter Wagons. He's still holding 200 shares from a price of 75 rupees, and after stellar results, the stock is locked at an upper circuit of 5%. So what's the outlook going ahead, and if he gets an opportunity, can he add more at this point in time? And he also is also holding BF Utilities, bought at a price of 345 rupees. So what should he do in this one as well?
Well, I think Jupiter has given a very strong return to investors, but even at current levels, he can continue to hold. But when such a stock has given such a strong rally, and it's just about 9,000, 10,000 crores of market cap, better to add at dips. So I would wait to add at dips over here. And in fact, for even BF Utilities, I think the rally has been strong, but things look good even from here. They are likely to do better in terms of financials, so one can continue holding both.
This next one is coming in from MSV Raghavan from Chennai. He's a senior citizen. This query is for you, Kunal, particularly. He has 100 shares of Kotak Mahindra Bank, which he's purchased at the price of 1,900 rupees per share. He's holding for the last 3 years. He wants to know what should he do with the stock. Also, he wants to know if he should enter HAL right now. He's aiming to buy about 100 shares of that.
So for HAL, I'll start off with that. I would suggest not to buy at current levels. However attractive the stock price has been over the last 1 year or so, the pure rationale for it is on the basis of technical charts, where the indicators on the weekly and the monthly time frame has reached into a huge overbought territory, and stocks we've seen historically, when they go into such kind of a strong uptrend, they would go into a period of multi-month correction. So I would probably believe HAL could be something where you can look to buy on dips, not at current levels.
Okay, Kunal, the next query is for you. NSS Lakshmi has bought shares of Coforge and she's holding 55 shares. She didn't mention her buy price. So at this point, what's the outlook going ahead? Because this stock has been doing fantastically well in the IT space, near to its all-time high level. So going ahead, what's the outlook?
It's been doing recently well compared to most of the other mid-cap IT names. So I think that this zone of outperformance should continue for the IT stocks. My only concern is with the market setup, where I would probably expect the markets to start moderating from current levels. In fact, that's the expectation over the last 1 week, 2 weeks for the markets. So that's the only point of contention, that if the market starts to moderate, even the outliers and the outperformers, even they would probably start to get into a bit of a corrective zone. So if you're already holding the stock, you can continue to hold on. I would not suggest an average or a buy even at current levels. But in case if you're looking to add on dips, then I think wait out for a correction, maybe 4,700, 750. If the stock happens to come back to that level, that could also coincide with the 50-day moving average for Coforge. That could be a zone where you may look to accumulate or add.
Okay, Kunal, very interesting to note, because she just said that she has bought Coforge back in 2002 from a price of just rupees 10. So she's having stellar gains in this one. So at this point, should he just book out profits or continue to hold on?
I mean, no reason. I mean, if you have another better stock to invest into, only then it makes sense to switch out from Coforge. But I think it's fantastic that you've been holding on to the stock. I would suggest to hold on unless you have a better opportunity outside of the IT space or some other mid-cap IT names to invest into.
All right, the next stock that I have, or rather the next query that I have, is coming in from Sagar for you, Shahina. It's on Voltam Transformers. He's bought a nice chunk about at a level of around 1,000 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he should hold this counter for the long term, any sort of a growth outlook you have for Voltam Transformers, because he's saying that he looked to buy this counter because a lot of MFs were entering this one.
Well, actually, the numbers were a bit disappointing, which they came out recently. At the same time, the stock is showing momentum, so one can continue to hold. I think the business outlook for the sector is strong.
Okay, Shahina, what's your take on Tiga Industries? Bishaka from Kolkata has bought 50 shares from a price of 627 rupees. So at this point in time, should he continue to ride on the rally in Tiga Industries since he's sitting at a good profit, or book out some profits would be the advice?
No, I don't think I tracked this stock. I didn't get the name also.
Tega? Tega
No, I
Invest.
don't. No,
Okay,
I don't.
Kunal, any take on this one? One of the recent listings. I'm not sure about the data sets.
Yeah, the price history is quite okay for the stock price. It's come back towards the 50-day moving average, or I think just a few percentage points above the 50 DMA, and has this tendency of coming back towards the 50-day moving average, spends at least another week or so at the critical moving average, and then bounces back again to make a fresh swing high. So I think that aspect I would suggest a hold. If you're looking to buy, frankly, then I would believe that 980 could be a good starting point from a short-term trading play.
All right, on that note, actually, we'll slip into a break in this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. When we come back, we'll continue taking your stock-related queries, viewers, so don't go anywhere.
And Kunal, the next question is for you. This one is from Pratiksha from Muscat, and she's holding shares of IRB Infra and currently having a loss of 10%. She can continue holding for the next 6 months. So want to know, can she hold on, and also wants to know the support and the resistance levels for the same.
Well, I think you can look to exit the stock at current levels, because if you have a time frame of 6 months, then I don't expect too much of upside for IRB Infra, and the rationale for that is that the stock has shown a death crossover where the 50-day moving average has crossed below the 200-day moving average. We ideally see that whenever that has happened for stock prices, stocks have gone through a correction or a phase of pause for which has extended for 3 months to 6 months at least. So which means that the stock should try and underperform and remain into this range of 25, 26, 27 broadly over the short to medium term. So I think if that's the time frame which you're looking out for, then you should look to exit the stock.
All right, this next query that I have is coming in from Balaji. He's writing to us from Madurai. And Kunal, this one is also for you. 70 shares of D-Mart at a price of 4,200 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he should sell or he should hold on to this counter. What's your take on D-Mart? Should he look to exit this one, because his buy price is definitely at an elevated level?
Yeah, but I think the stock price has been to a correction since the last 1.5 or 2 years. 2022 start, I think, is where in fact 21 end is where the stock had made a high of 5,900, 6,000, and from there the stock has been into a consistent correction. The only change which is about to happen for DMart is a possibility where the long-term averages would cross over for itself. That could result into a positive trend for DMart, which means that this 1.5 year of downtrend could probably be over for DMart. So I think that anticipation, you can wait for some more time. If this crossover happens, then I would believe that the stock should come back towards 4,000, 4,200 at least, which should be closer to your cost price.
Okay, Shahina, what's your take on Sun TV as well as Indian hotels? The question is from Vidya from Singapore, and he wants to know, is this a good time for a fresh investment in both of these names?
Both of them look good at current levels also for the longer term investor. They both have given decent returns. I mean, at least Indian Hotels has, Sun has consolidated, but I think both look good from current levels. The business is growing. Indian Hotels is expensive. Sun TV is reasonably valued. So I think both make good investments for the medium term.
A couple of queries that I'm getting from social media platforms as well, and this one is coming in from Mac. He's asking about Vedanta. He's holding about 20,000 shares of Vedanta at an average price of 265 rupees per share. Shahina, what should he do with this particular counter? Should he stay put with Vedanta, given the fact that the news flow doesn't seem to stop on this counter?
Yeah, I think he should exit. There are better stocks available in the sector itself, and the results also not expected to be too exciting. So I think he should exit.
Okay, Kunal, what's your take on Welspun India? The query is from Samrat from Bangalore, and he's got the 500 shares from a price of 68 rupees. Wants to know the prospects for this one.
See, I think you should look to hold on to the stock if you're a specifically long-term investor, which I can sense from your cost price where you've bought Welspun India. You seem to have bought at almost the lower end of the price curve for Welspun India, assumingly if it was a transaction which was done very recently. Now, interestingly, the stock on the monthly charts has shown an MACD breakout. This could probably result to the stock going into major multi-month or multi-year uptrend, from current levels. So I think in that anticipation and given the kind of breakouts the stock has shown, I would definitely suggest a hold on Welspun India from current levels of 115 plus as well.
Okay. Okay, this one's coming from Ranjit from Gurgaon, wants to know about Sanofi India and Hindustan Copper. Which one of this is better one to buy? Both of them from divergent sectors. Shahina, Sanofi India, do you think is a better bet as compared to Hindustan Copper? Because given the fact that Hindustan Copper is also dependent on the commodity cycle.
Well, yes, I think Sanofi would be a decent bet to hold because the management has announced a demerger of their consumer business, which is 30% of their revenues. So Sanofi definitely, I think, should give you a decent return. And Hindustan copper prices are okay. So I would say both are okay. But I would prefer Sanofi.
Okay, Kunal, the next query is from Rajkumar, and he says that he's a big fan of yours and he wants your take on IRFC. He has bought 3,000 shares from a price of 25 rupees. So, should he just book out profits after the great run-up that we have seen in this counter, or continue to hold on? He says he's a long-term investor.
Thank you so much for that. First of all, so for IRFC, the only concern for the charts is the recent run-up. The stock has run from 32 rupees, if I'm not wrong, where the move started, to now 52 rupees. The stock has made a high today. Now, such kind of a sharp or an extreme reaction on the upside would also be countered by a sharp downtrend, which may come by into the stock price. The only concern is that it's very difficult to try and anticipate that whether the stock will go into a time-wise correction or a major price-wise correction. But I think at 50-52 levels, if you ask me, then I think the short-term top could probably be made for IRFC. I think it's a good zone where you will have to start booking out profits and then buy back on dips, buy back on phases on the downside. So, once you have a comfort of exiting at the higher end of the price curve, it's always better that you can buy the stocks on dips or on correction. So, that's a strategy which I would suggest you adopt.
Okay, another one coming your way, Kunal. This one is coming in from a viewer. Actually, I don't have the name of the viewer. Let me just check if Jai Krishnan is writing to us. He's a huge fan of yours, is what he's also mentioned. 1 year ago, he bought Tata Investment at a price of 2,700 rupees per share. He's a medium-term investor, but he's suffering a huge loss in this particular holding of Tata Investment, is what he's saying. So he wants to know, should he sell and go in for another company share altogether? What's a short-term target for Tata Investment? And in case you're advising him to go ahead and exit from this counter, he wants to know which one should he buy. Does Dixon Tech make sense?
So thank you first of all. Now on Tata Investment, I would not suggest an exit. Now I sense that your buy price or your purchase price would be in the range of 2,600 or 2,800 broadly, because that was the
2,700 is what he said.
Yeah, so that was the top. I think the stock had made in September 2022. From there, the stock had corrected to 1,800 and it's now come back towards 2,500. So when a stock generally retraces more than 50% of the correction, we ideally term this as a strong potential candidate of a turnaround. Now, the stock may take some time to come back to that 2,700, 800 mark. So if time is not a constraint, then I would suggest you can stick around with Tata Investment with a potential upside above that 2,800 mark, say hopefully in the next 6 months to 9 months, if not more.
Okay, Shahina, coming to you for the next query. This one is from Satyan from Kerala, and he has bought 100 shares of LIC back in July 2022 at a price of 718 rupees. So at this point, what's the outlook going ahead? Should he continue to hold on this particular counter, though he's still at a loss, or rather book losses?
I think he can continue holding on at current levels. The stock has given a good correction. No point selling at current levels.
All right, this next one that I have is actually coming in from Sushila, who is writing to us from Bellary, Karnataka. Wants to know, is it the right time to go ahead and purchase Reliance Industries, Kunal?
Well, could not be a great time to buy the stock. Yes, it's been a performing stock. Reliance Industries has done exceptionally well over the long-term basis. But then on the short-term charts, the stock seems to have come back into an overbought territory. Major divergence from the long-term averages, 200-day moving average. So I would suggest to wait out for a significant correction if you're looking to buy the stock on dips.
Okay, so that's the take coming in on Reliance Industries. But with this, viewers, let's kickstart taking all your queries in the rapid fire session. And Kunal, coming to you for first query. This one is from Raja and wants to know, HCC, is this a good bet at current market price with a medium-term outlook investment?
Well, yeah, I would suggest a hold on HCC.
Shahina, next one is for you on KEI Industry. Mahalakshmi from Hyderabad has 25 shares at a price of 2,412 rupees per share. Purchased KEI Industries with a long-term view since the stock has seen some sort of a decline from a buy price. Should she go ahead and buy some more?
She can buy it at dip and hold the current position.
Shahina, Girish Iyer is holding 1,500 shares of L&T Finance from a price of 138 rupees. Is there any scope for upside, or should he just sell at this point?
I think LIP Finance, it is better to exit.
Alright, this one is from Sundarajan. He has Shriram Finance at a price of 1,250 rupees per share, 200 shares. Kunal, what should be the strategy now?
You should continue to hold on.
Okay, Shaina, what's your take on Vedanta? Malcolm is holding 20,000 shares from a price of 265 rupees. So at this point, what to do next? In the long term or in the short term, what should be the outlook?
I would say exit at.
Alright, this one has come from Kiran Krishnamurthy writing to us from Australia. Wants to know about why PSU banks like SBI and Bank of Baroda are silently underperforming. Is it a good time to accumulate these counters for the longer term? But Kunal, he wants you to answer this.
Yeah, I would definitely believe that this is a good time, good correction where you can look to encash as well as buy the PSU banking stocks.
Okay, Shaina Krish wants to know, is this a good time to enter into Vadilal? He wants to add this in his portfolio. So what will be your advice?
Yeah, I also hold quite a bit from lower levels, and I'm positive on the medium to long term. So
Okay, Ghosh Dada, Kunal is saying that Kunal has so many fans. I'm also one of them, but he wants a comment on Root Mobile.
Well, I think it's a fantastic stock. I believe that even though it's going through a rough patch very recently, you should continue to hold on, and thank you for that.
Kunal, Kiran wants to know, is this a good time to enter into ICICI Bank?
Not be a best time to buy the stock. Of course, it's a very good, formidable large cap name. But in terms of timing, I think maybe closer to 925, 940 could be a better time to buy the stock.
Alright, and with that, we come to the end of the rapid fire as well as the queries. Thank you so much, Kunal, as well as Shaina, for joining us on the show, talking about Hero Motocorp, as well as resolving all of our viewer queries. And viewers, if we've not been able to take your query today, please note that we're really trying hard to take as many queries as possible. Don't be disheartened. Some more days are left as well in this week. And with that, we are totally out of time on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. Goodbye from Srishti, myself, and the team that put the show together.
टिप चाहिए